Joey is a traveling songwriter, a zine author, a poet, and an organizer who's been at it for over a decade. Earlier this year, he released a conceptual and ambitious album titled Impermanence. Tonight, Joey will be collaborating with other artists and performers for a unique presentation of those songs, those ideas, and those feelings. So without further ado, please welcome to the stage, Average Joey.
The voice in my head tells me what to do and who I am. One thought to the next, relentless chatter back and forth, it never ends. It wants me dead, it won't relent, it soon will send me to the person that I am. Never seems to meet the needs or connect. So I rage and I rest and I do what you'd expect, but I must confess I believe I am possessed. Save us, slippery souls, invisible hands with the pipes of pan, sing and dance for the fat of the land. Histories we made, fictions we create, frame rate of our fame, a tricky task of phantoms mask will make us mad and lonely. A king of fools to break the rules and bend the bones to jewelry. A desperate parade is leading the way. Such a mundane suicide. Our saviors consumed, orchestrated doom. What now should we do? Just laugh it off, a holocaust. We're weak from weeks of purging. A gentle love, a little love, salvation must be learned. We're all alone, all knowing. fade away, the great decay is holy. We must take comfort in mankind's demise, a spitting, thrashing sacrifice. Our blood will boil in the sea. Our homes rid of disease. Our bodies without need. Our flesh will feed the tree. Our nerves finally at ease. Our stories will make the glorious read. Our spirits finally free. Our love finally decreed. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. For this next performance, I'd love for you to follow a couple of rules with me, some burlesque rules. Normally we would throw money at our burlesque performers, but we're going to save that until later. If you care to tip the burlesque performer, I'd encourage you to do that. We'll just do it during intermission because we are in the middle of a theater performance. But what you can do while we do this is the more hoots and hollers and that you can give, the better the performance will go. So keep that in mind as this next performance happens. Make a lot of noise. I want you to be dead silent for the rest of the show. So get it all out now. And help me in welcoming to the stage the Lady Slipper.
Well, if I can't afford a planet with rising global temperatures that threaten civilization as we know it is only a single dimension of a much larger collapse. Biodiversity loss, deforestation, desertification, soil erosion, ocean acidification, sea level rise, and increasingly extreme weather events are each a major crisis unto themselves, and collectively, they are larger than the sum of their parts. Words fail to capture the severity of this situation. These crises are not happening in a void. Rather, they are the result of the social and economic conditions of the modern world. Fundamentally, these compounding crises are the direct result of how our society is organized, under the logic and rule of a hegemonic capitalist global order. When issues of the environment are divorced from the social, political, and economic conditions that create these problems, we are making a crucial misstep in addressing these crises in a meaningful and productive way. As the climate changes and the environmental conditions become more hostile to human life on this planet, it will be our power structures and social arrangements which will determine how many people will die and who they will be. We know all too well that the corporate entities and their PR machines spend incredible sums of money to create and uphold a public perception of the ecological crisis that points the blame away from capitalism and towards the individual responsibilities of consumers. Growing carbon emissions, vast deforestation, the use of slave labor in the Congo, the lead in Flint's drinking water, the profitability of weapons manufacturing, and the microplastics in our bloodstreams are all connected. They all have a common cause: capitalism and its fundamental logic, which prioritizes profit above all else. This ideology shapes our world and is rooted in a history of colonization of land, exploitation of labor, indigenous genocide, and extractive military campaigns, all which continue today. These systemic and structural forces of domination and oppression are the direct cause of the ecological crisis, which in turn give rise to social crises such as forced migration, political instability, psychological distress, and increasing costs for basic necessities such as food, housing, and clean water. For those of us in this room, we are, relatively speaking, lucky in that our access to these basic needs is not likely under immediate threat. But we are regularly reminded, through pandemics, hurricanes, or floods, that security is more precarious than we might think. It is also likely we are living in a state of constant stress, anxiety, depression, disassociation, always just getting by financially, while also grappling with an existential dread that what the future might hold. When faced with these challenges of securing housing, navigating the healthcare system, affording groceries, paying the bills, a global collapse feels like an abstract problem which takes place in a distant future or a far-off land. However, the belief that our modern consumerist lifestyle can go on indefinitely is delusion detached from reality. It is not enough to intellectually acknowledge that capitalism is bad. We must start acting as if its continuation is a threat to all life on Earth, because it is. Unless we recognize that confronting these interconnected and worsening crises means radically uprooting the capitalist hegemony, its underlying assumptions, we will continue to make meaningless reforms and marginal adjustments to a death machine. These systems cannot be reasoned with. There are no ethical, moral, or environmental considerations that will stand in its way, extracting profit and sending it up the social ladder to consolidate wealth and power into fewer and fewer hands. If we choose to continue this path, we can expect a further normalization of mass death and objective depravity. The ramping up of social and ecological crises will bring with them intensifying levels of housing insecurity, resource scarcity, climate refugees, and abject poverty. We can expect that these problems will not be confronted with reason or compassion, but doubling down on dehumanization, mass surveillance, carceral violence. Our laughable political structures will continue to function only for the benefit of the wealthy. Incarceration, brutalization will be wrought upon growing numbers of people unable or unwilling to participate in a delusional and destructive economic and social order. While the majority of the population struggles to survive, denied basic dignity, the wealthy will live in walled-off gated communities of affluence and opulence. They will be guarded by an institution of organized violence whose primary task is the protection of private property and the maintenance of an unjust status quo, the police. Throughout history, it has been devotion to the status quo which has perpetuated the most egregious violence and disgrace the world has ever known. People behaving reasonably, according to the logics and ideologies of their social context, will be carried out genocide, chattel slavery, and the bombing of innocent people en masse. This reasonable behavior continues today. For evidence, look no further than the hospitals reduced to rubble in Gaza, the broken bodies in the Amazon warehouses, the faces of millions of unhoused neighbors. So I might ask, who is a bigger threat to society? The populations who crowd the prisons, or the energy companies who pollute the air, poison the water, degrade the soil? Who is more likely to be responsible for the deaths of large numbers of people? The deeply disturbed lone gunman, or the weapons manufacturer who built 2,000-pound bombs? Who is violent and dangerous? The unhoused person experiencing a manic episode in the town square? Or the powerful media figures who expose xenophobic and racist rhetoric? Who is crazy? Who defines sanity? To waste literal tons of food each day while people starve down the street or across the globe is fundamentally antisocial behavior. It's psychotic. To justify the deaths of thousands of people as collateral damage is to abandon humanity. These are not rational departures from a rational system. It's not that this is an irrational or crazy time. It's the converse. These are the rational outcomes of a basically amoral and irrational system. When we've got this kind of system, this is what you're going to get. Mass exploitation, structural violence, ecological devastation. The social misery appear to us as inevitable, but they are only the result of a capitalist social organization. We lose sight of the socially dysfunctional and morally reprehensible nature of our culture when a mentality of dehumanization is constantly reinforced. A society that worships opulence while it normalizes millions of people sleeping in the streets is deeply sick. Stepping over dying people on a daily commute or passively scrolling through images of genocidal violence among curated ads and selfies are standard activities in our society. The consequence of structuring our world according to such abnormal and unnatural conditions is mental, physical, social, and political dysfunction. These psychological tormenting conditions are guaranteed to cause stress, loneliness, and feelings of existential sadness. Meaningful connection cannot thrive in these conditions. The seeds of compassion struggle to germinate in a soil of domination. Immiserated by this reality, we become less able to love or connect, emotionally dulled, and rationally confused. The compounding social, political, economic, and ecological crises are guaranteed to result in cataclysmic shifts on a global scale. Though this collapse will certainly result in further injustice, violence, chaos, and fear, it also may present a possibility of overturning the unjust conditions that currently dominate, for creating a social reality which no longer relies on vast exploitation, resource hoarding, genocidal colonial violence, and ecological destruction. A profound transition is inevitable. We are undoubtedly facing the end of the world as we know it. But this current global hegemonic order needs to be ended in order for something better to emerge. How can we meet this moment, not exclusively as an apocalyptic threat, but also as a sort of opportunity for revolutionary change? We are living in the single most significant moment in human history. The realization can be paralyzing, but it's also charged with meaning. People need meaning, fundamentally. Perhaps the collapse can provide a sense of purpose and urgency to join the collective struggle for a better future.
Traveling miles fast and wide just to be alone again. Internal hurt, eternal thirst, we must learn to learn ourselves. An open weeping wounds will be used as a healing tool. But the blade may be removed and wielded as a weapon. Will we wander our whole lives, wondering what could be? Will we ever be set free from this tension that release? The gap that passion builds to bridge sets the same flame that makes it burn. An extended empty hand holds the holy, nothing to be learned.
I'm trying to be Christ-like, but I'm frightened of sacrifice. It's easy to compare if you care to fantasize.
I am conspiring in a collapsing empire with the meek and the beaten around a dying campfire. We're searching for a world worthy of salvation, fighting for faith among the deprivation. We refuse to fund a violent empire while paradise is colonized by liars. So we travel the land in roving bands, gathering our followers on Instagram. Evil men thread the camel through the eye of the needle, while we become like children, meek and feeble. We're spreading the word of apocalypse, the good word of the gospel always on our lips. Warning the poor of the end of days, praying heaven is ours if we just rise up and claim it. The first shall be last when we feel God's wrath through collective psychosis and climate collapse. The fires of hell will be felt on earth. Money exchangers' tables finally turn. Oh Christ, good God, how could I compare? This savior complex is such a cross to bear. Christ on the cross, weeping and bleeding. His word futile, his gospel justifying the highest crime, crimes in the highest of faith. Fuel for the pyre, flames among the fire. We dance along to Nero on the line. Embrace absurdity, squalor and obscenity. We're living in the streets philosophically, with a stoic rejection and a worthless perfection, in a search for honesty, a polite hypocrisy. So spit in the rich man's face. Don't stand in my light. We'll find our happiness, but only out of spite. All will be for naught. Diogenes on the cross, laughing madly. And all will be for fun when we all become holy bums, mumbling our revelations, a whole book worth of revelations. When the sea at last swallows me, I'll finally be free of this ridiculous fantasy of what created me.
agree. Almost invariably, if we have no one to be honest with, we become lonely.
But loneliness is not simply alienation from others. We are even more lonely when we become strangers to ourselves. Ironically, a vital factor in knowing ourselves is relating to others. As we express our true ideas and share our true feelings, we understand ourselves better.
Frustrating as it is to feel nobody understands us, it is worse to realize we do not understand ourselves.
We wear masks about how we really feel. We avoid our true thoughts. Eventually, it makes us miserable. It is a condition resulting largely from a lack of being known and understood.
Your loneliness has an answer, and that answer is God.
Coming into companionship with God is life-changing.
It is soul-changing.
We are changed morally from careless sinfulness to joyful holiness. We are changed directionally from chasing after this world's short-lived pleasures and possessions to pursuing the eternal God and solid realities that last forever. And yes, we are changed relationally from alienation to closeness, from loneliness to meaningful companionship.
To speak with one of our phone team members, press 0. To return to the main menu, press 6.
Lay me low. Lay me low. Lay me low. Where no one can find me. Where no one can see me. Where no one can hurt me. Lay me low. Lay me low. Lay me low. Where mother can find me. Where mother can hold me. Where mother can bless me. Lay me low. Lay me low. Lay me low. Where no one can find me. Where no one can see me. Where no one can hurt me. Lay me low. Lay me low. Lay me low. Where mother can find me. Where mother can hold me. Where mother can bless me.
Last time.
Lay me low. Lay me low. Lay me low.
That is the end of Act 1. We will now have a brief intermission. If you'd like to get another beverage or just get outside for some fresh air, please do that. Report back to here in 15 minutes. That's pretty strict. Don't be more than 15 minutes or you'll miss the part of the show where there's at least a little bit of resolution. Thanks so much for being here. I'll say thank you a bunch more after the show is over. I awake to the bad news, a little worse than yesterday's. Everything's changing so fast, nothing ever seems to change. I'd be pleased to plead innocence, but Eden's tree bears a fruit so sweet. I am grateful for our fall from grace. With the joy comes the grief, with the doubt comes belief. The void cannot be avoided. What will cure our dis-ease? Well, the people that we love, I believe, are enough. On my better days, I'm blank staring in the kitchen, wishing that things were different. I've been conditioned by these conditions to accept contradictions and reject my convictions. My faith will not be easily shaken, as long as there's stories to be told and beauty to behold. That's the only creed that I need on my better days. If the prophets are right, life is suffering. If we are truly doomed, I'd like a chance at one last dance. I'd like to get good at suffering with you. Sometimes I try to plead ignorance. I have felt heaven in your song, and I've trudged through the depths of hell when a sense of isolation won't leave me alone. Spend so much time in our heads, think we're going out of our minds. But our hearts keep beating, despite taking a beating, while we're raging against the machine or the dying of the light. But I still have faith in a fate worth fighting for. Call it futile, call it pious naivety. I still believe that we shall be free on my better days, on my better days.
Yeah!
We're gonna do now another acapella session. Does that sound okay to everybody?
Yeah!
And we're gonna do what is called a round in the business and show business. That means that I'm going to start singing a thing and you're going to sing it with me. And then I'm going to change what I'm singing and it's going to match up with what you're singing. Okay? You just sing what I'm singing and you keep doing that. And then I'll take care of the rest. Sounds good? It's very simple what we're going to sing together. And the words are, life is a cycle ending in death. Light gives darkness breath. Life is a cycle ending in death. Light gives darkness breath. You got that? Okay, it goes like this. Join me whenever you're ready. And don't be shy. The first act, maybe you were getting loosened up, you got a couple drinks in you now. Give it a go this time around. Okay? Talking to you, Mom. Alright, here we go. Life is a cycle ending in death. Light gives darkness breath. Life is a cycle ending in death. Light gives darkness breath. Life is a cycle ending in death. Light gives darkness breath. Life is a cycle ending in death. Light gives darkness breath. Keep doing that. Life is a cycle ending in death. Light gives darkness breath. Life is a cycle ending in death. Life is a cycle ending in death. Light gives darkness breath. Life is a cycle ending in death. Life gives darkness breath. Life is a cycle ending in death. Light gives darkness breath. Life is a cycle ending in death. Light gives darkness breath. Light gives darkness breath. Mountain bathed in cold moonlight, casting a shadow at your giddy eye. Figure shifts among the trees. I pretend I can't remember my dreams. Just forget my dreams. Something here is haunting me. I lie to myself through yellow teeth. The truth, it hurts. The veil is thin. The water reflects the shape I'm in. The shape I'm in. If nothing is sacred, everything is sacred. If everything's sacred, nothing is sacred. If nothing is sacred, everything is sacred. If everything's sacred, nothing is sacred. Nothing is sacred. How I wish I was here alone, but they're shaping sigils with the stones to cast a curse that preys on fear. Not alone, there's something here. There's something here. Salamanders slither and hiss. Something secret whispers a kiss. The forest knows, the trees can see, casting back an image of me. An image of me. Covered in mud, I crawl along, writhing around to an ancient song. The taste of blood in my mouth, I will now, without doubt, without doubt. If nothing is sacred, everything is sacred. If everything's sacred, nothing is sacred. If nothing is sacred, everything's sacred. If everything is sacred, nothing is sacred. Nothing is sacred. I gasp for air, I scream for help, but it's all just copies of myself. All deformed, all unique, human faces attached to the trees, and they can see me. Presence fell, conjuring an empty vessel. My hand is forced, my hands they tremble. I am not special. If nothing is sacred, everything is sacred. If everything's sacred, nothing is sacred. If nothing is sacred, everything is sacred. If everything's sacred, nothing is sacred. Nothing is sacred.
Once more welcome to the stage, the Lady Slipper. Scarcity, strong man turns to scarecrow. We strive to find the way. As we try to define, we stray. Nothing, give myself up to the ghost. Control rather than understand. As above, so below, we must submit to the
There is no longer music. There is no longer poetry. I am no longer singing a song. This is what suffering sounds like. A defeated sigh of submission, a communal cry for commiseration, a worldwide suicide note. The last transmission. This is it as it is, not as we would like it to be. I long so solemnly for my soul's salvation. Some unclenching of the self, some step on the path of actualization. But alas, I have attachment. Attachment to the pleasant sensation of connection. I have craving for a concept of love that could liberate. I have aversion to the idea of mass death and ecological devastation. I hold hatred in my heart for the evil people whose selfish short-sightedness has doomed us all. Yet I am assured we shall find peace and healing when we acknowledge our discomforts. I am assured liberation shall come from sitting with our suffering, befriending it. I am assured to be present with the here and now will reveal some silent secret. I am assured practicing vulnerability is a great virtue. And since we are all living in extreme material vulnerability to ever worsening social, political, environmental, and spiritual conditions, we must therefore be virtuous. But rest assured, pursuit of virtue is not a path to enlightenment. How does virtue meet brute force? When my mind wanders, I wonder. Sometimes I dream of a swift apocalyptic event. I long for it. Sometimes a cataclysm would be a blessing. On my worst days, I want the goddamn dam to break. But the truth is, every passing year will bring a tighter grip on the neck of the struggling people on a struggling planet, gasping for air, grasping for increasingly scarce resources. We can normalize anything, even annihilation. And all the clever art or witty wordplay in the world can't stop it now. I will not be able to exchange "I told you so's" for potable water in the coming disasters. The end is nigh, says all the signs, but no, the end is now. The way out is through. We're going through it. We know it. We feel it. We understand it at the experiential level. Damn, how terrible it is to understand when understanding is useless. It is difficult to articulate that there's little reason to believe anything can be done to stop what's coming. If we remove the distractions of ephemeral pleasures, avert our eyes from the glow of sugar-sweet transmissions, we must sit down with discomfort of knowing. Accepting the present means an acceptance of extinction. Acceptance without exception that everything is impermanent. No sensation is eternal. The accumulative experience of all consciousness arises and passes away. From the Christ to the Buddha to your nieces and nephews. There is nothing to offer, no message or agenda. The TV people blurb and blubber as the gears grind our guts to dust, and nothing ever comes of it. The commercial breaks bring no comfort. Conventionally attractive people in expensive electric vehicles only drive the point home. Even the cathartic release of violent uprise is ultimately impotent. The algorithm that transforms transforms the human spirit into extracted capital and pushes the profit to the top. No longer requires individual inputs to function. It won't be much help to hold the head of the hydra in the guillotine. Even more snapping jaws simply grow back in their place. The pendulum swings back and forth from left to right, from reaction to reform, revolution, or harm reduction, while we all sit in the bottom of the pit, our naked necks exposed, thirsty for the final slit. The bottom line is that the bottom line no longer matters. The ship has sailed, this ship is sinking. As the upper echelon argue about how we ought to arrange the deck chairs, bodies are bloating in the rising waters. Corpses floating in human sewage, while polite debate takes place about carbon budgets and shit. Finding ourselves in such an antagonistic environment puts us in a state of constant heightened hypervigilance. Trauma responses and activated nervous systems and increased level of stress chemicals flooding the brain force us into ever more terrorized mindsets and hostile outlooks. The result is mass shootings, fascistic mobs of nationalist reactionaries, compulsive conspiracy theories that distract from the actual conspiracies. The feed of constant content mass-produced to soothe, a disaffected youth who know their future has been stolen from them, a huddled mass is subdued, chewing through comfort foods as Thanos snaps his fingers. Our self-annihilation has reached such a degree that it can experience its own destruction as an aesthetic pleasure. We are denied any possibility of dignity, required to disassociate and self-medicate to survive. The only way to ascertain some semblance of moral agency is by establishing another and destroying it. We create scapegoats, praying our moral malaise may be elevated for a moment, longing for some place to aim our justified rage. The boiling blood coursing through our veins splatters our comrades instead of our common enemies, destabilizes our movements instead of decapitating our captors. Polite posturing and politics of purity take place of the collective imagination. Condescension replaces compassion. Charity displaces solidarity. All the while, our ancient relationship to the unknowable is sublimated. Our universal aspiration for acceptance and community is commodified, replaced with a weekend getaway, perhaps a protest or a festival, something to temporarily tamp down the tension, a release valve for our immiseration, a VIP spiritual bypass available to only those with disposable income. Our discontents are weaponized against us, sold back to us, packaged as an atomized lifestyle choice. I'm sorry to inform you that your individual consumer choices will not save your soul. Salvation shall not come from a strict self-help regiment. The kingdom of God is not on offer at the health food co-op. An unending hum of zeros and ones takes place in our interpretation of the sacred. It enforces our understanding of ourselves from the illusion of free will, building our realities, determining our desires, shaping our fates. Our gaze glazes over in reverent obedience. Some emergent mastermind messiah shall not save us either, I'm afraid. My innate need for narrative calls me to adventure, but I cannot afford to call off work. The only thresholds that I cross are security checkpoints. My mentors all died or compromised their morals to stay alive. When I met with the goddess, she vomited cobalt from the pit of her stomach, spewed oil from her pores. As for my atonement, I posted her public brutalization. The upload has 7.7 billion views. On my return home, I carry with me no new wisdom, only bloodied hands and soiled soul. May we retain the equanimity as the bottom drops out. May we observe our cyclical cynicism with compassionate inquiry. May we drown in the deluge of decadence. May we indulge in delicious self-delusion. May we welcome with loving kindness the violence that encircles us, disguised as our caretakers. Our candle is flickering ever dimmer, our clock ticking ever louder, our hearts beating ever fainter, our breath ever more labored, our eyes bulging from lack of oxygen, our death rattles reverberating through the world, interpreted through nightly newscasts. But what is it to give light must endure burning? So shall you even bother in that garden in the yard? Is it ethical to reproduce? I don't know, I guess. Listen to your heart. Do what feels right in your gut, but try to quiet the mind. Bring your attention to the physical sensation of the breath. Inhale, exhale. Be present, accept it. Try to enjoy a soft breeze tickling the treetops. One leaf left clinging on. Take in the breathtaking sunset over the earth's curvature before it too is asphyxiated, hacking, gagging, gasping, smothered in smoke, choked to death by our collective inaction.
If I were denied these trying times, how could I know my own worth? If I can't decide that I'm ready to die, how will I begin my rebirth? If I come to find my own freedom, I may seek comfort in the cage when I follow the fear I'm feeding from. It seems like I'm running away. It seems like I'm running away. The instant I wake up, the dream I was weaving, which once seemed so real, reveals itself as made up. When the time does arrive for my timely demise, I'll writhe with regret and remorse. I'll surely replace any tasteful disgrace with pleas for an easy recourse. The time comes to pass that I'm actually asked what the fuck I'm fighting for. A brief relief of pain won't quiet my brain, which seeks immortality and more. Seeks immortality and more. The instant I die, I can finally recognize that I had in fact been alive. When our times are defined by violence, when needs need met and the pressure's felt, I doubt some insufferable wordsmith will be able to offer any semblance of help. The time mighty as the truth that a big man with a gun will do what he wants to. So do as he says or he'll shoot. My story will not live on with you.
If people have a central purpose, it is camaraderie, friendship, and loving connection. The desire to be in community with people who we trust and appreciate, and who share those good feelings towards us, is a quintessential part of being human, and builds our capacity to trust in the inherent goodness of humanity in general. A life dedicated to the rejection of the profit motive in favor of loving connection and autonomous mutual care requires a break from consensus reality of normalcy shaped by the violence and domination of the capitalist empire. But you are not crazy to be feeling depressed or anxious. Given these conditions, it would be weird not to be depressed and anxious. Our refusal, mind, body, and spirit, to conform to and abide by the demands of a society hurtling towards catastrophe is not weakness, illness, or pathology, but a sign that we have somehow managed to retain our humanity. Our feelings of fear, grief, rage, and panic are fully justified and appropriate given the reality we are subjected to. Individuating and pathologizing these feelings and emotions denies an opportunity for a collective recognition of the alienation we all experience, and fails to identify our mutual enemy, capitalism and its logic. For the chance of a better future, or any future at all, profound changes must take place in the way we relate to each other. We may see in the coming crisis acts of solidarity and mutual aid which are inherent in human communities, especially under crisis or amidst tragedy. In the collapse, what will matter most for our material survival and our emotional health will be whether we are part of a loving community whose members are prepared to be there for each other. As the social and ecological conditions worsen, a community of people we are in physical contact with, who we depend on for help and who can depend on us for support, will be the most important resource of all. These relationships are the building blocks of a radically different society. It is only through encounters with and involvement in robust networks of collective care that people build capacity for more loving, more compassionate, more collective ways of organizing their lives. The connections we make, the friendships we hold dear, the love we cultivate, and the experiences we share are what give life purpose and meaning. It is crucial that we start building these communities, these networks, and these relationships now. The future is uncertain and unpredictable. Few people become active participants in a community whose well-being one has investment in. There are no instructions for building a better world. There are no certain paths to take to the future. No specific political ideologies, spiritual practice, or strategic blueprint can provide us all the answers. We must remain open to a flexible and dynamic sensibility that nurtures trust in the capacity to care for each other. There are no guarantees, but there are possibilities. What is important is not anticipating exactly what is going to happen, but retaining our basic humanity regardless of what happens. As the bottom drops out, we will be forced to ask ourselves, who will we become now? Love might be an organizing principle around which we build our new social worlds. not the commodified and limiting notion of love sold to us on television, but love in the context of a radical social ethic, an uprooting of capitalist ideologies in favor of a social arrangement which recognizes that our well-being, our emotional health, and our material security are all collective processes that are deeply interconnected. This is not a passive rhetoric, but a means by which we find solidarity in the interest of common struggle and collective liberation. Our ability to pose a meaningful threat to power, to radically transform the conditions of the world, is connected to our capacity for connection, compassion, love. Without these, we are mindlessly compliant to ideologies or numb to the severity of the situation. Love, to be fully realized, must be revolutionary. Revolution, to be realized, must be loving. Our grief for the suffering of the world, our justified rage at the systemic exploitation, our concern for human and non-human life, and our joyous acts of collective resistance can all fall under the banner of a revolutionary social love ethic. Grief, after all, is a manifestation of love, and our capacity to grieve is in some ways proportional to our capacity to care. Grief is painful, but when we process our grief in community, we are less likely to slip into despair. If we are to stay alive, if we are to have any reason to stay alive, we must retain the strength and strengthen our capacity to love, to grieve, to celebrate, to mourn, to dance, to sing. These processes of collective emotional expression are just as integral to our survival and resilience as are the material needs of shelter and food. If we cultivate hope, we grieve. While we grieve, we grow compassion while we are enraged, and move through individual despair towards universal solidarity. We will be more effective in shaping the future. Without hope, without community, the intense feelings of rage, depression, fear, and grief are impotent and debilitating. With hope, with communal support and co-creation, we can spark for action. Radical hope is not a means to an ultimate and decisive end, but rather a life-enriching dignity in itself. It is the spirit's refusal to be crushed under the heavy weight of the capitalist hellscape. Facing the devastating reality of the collapse and maintaining a hope for a better world is ultimately preferable to the comfortable numbness of delusion or the pacifying debilitation of despair. Radical hope is not a naive optimism, but an orientation of the character and spirit, a commitment to our values despite insurmountable challenges, a dedication to compassion, love, and the reality of interconnection, despite the uncertainty and fear that accompanies the inevitability of the collapse. Radical hope pushes beyond reason. It is an act of collective faith. Radical hope is more concerned with meaning than predictions. Whether we are successful in some abstract evaluation is of less concern than how we orient our lives now as we live them. We must embody a militant joy. The collective pursuit of purpose and meaning is what orients our life around love and connection. No matter what happens, the best way to spend a human life is in loving, meaningful connection with other people. If we internalize our own inevitable demise, we become passive and disaffected and less capable of building loving connections. A belief in humanity's inherent goodness, a fundamental compassion for all, a faith in the revolutionary potential of love, and radical hope are a far better world, are the building blocks of a life that is most fulfilling personally, most ethical socially, and most effective politically. With the foundation of radical hope and love, uncertainty is charged with potential rather than fear. No matter what happens, we must face it with a reverence for beauty, with love as our guiding principle. As Joanna Macy has said, What a great last gasp if we realize we have fallen in love with each other.
People have been singing as long as they've been anything. People will be singing long after I am gone. If the light flickers out, we shall surely sing about the darkness. People have been singing as long as they've been anything. People will be singing long after I am gone. If the light flickers out, we shall surely sing about the darkness. People have been singing as long as they've been anything. People will be singing long after I am gone. If the light flickers out, we shall surely sing about the darkness. People have been singing as long as they've been anything. People will be singing long after I am gone. If the light flickers out, we shall surely sing about the darkness. People have been singing as long as they've been anything. People will be singing long after I am gone. If the light flickers out, we shall surely sing about the darkness. People have been singing as long as they've been anything. People will be singing long after I am gone. If the light flickers out, we shall surely sing about the darkness. Thank you all so much. This has been an extremely experimental, improvisational, collaborative experience that we've all been a part of, including everybody here right now. So thanks for just like being here for it and being part of it and giving us your grace as we kind of stumble through a funny thing. And also having patience for listening to some. Not everybody wants to spend their evening listening to a bunch of bummer shit. So I appreciate it. But also, hopefully, what you have pulled from this is that it's important for us to talk about the bummer shit in order to get through it together, hey? And one of the ways we can get through it together is by singing together. And if you haven't pulled from this experience so far, it's okay to sing, even if you're a little bit shy. So there's going to be a sing-along part at the end of this. I'm going to teach you how it works. Even if I suck at it too. Yeah. I'm going to probably do it bad. But that's okay, because we're all here together and we're singing together. So at the end of the song, we're going to learn that together. Thanks so much for being here. Here we go. So a song about me and my feelings, as if you haven't heard anything like that. I'm a contradiction and a cliche, waiting for an unlikely judgment day, ready to tell the story that I've been writing since I was born. I'm a folk poet who loves football. I make people applaud, I make people appalled. I'm getting older, I'm getting over the person I used to be. Try to align with my beliefs. I meditate and go to therapy. Self-destruct about once a week, but I'm working on my shit. I'm a radical leftist, but a pragmatist. Convinced we're doomed, but I'm an optimist. A dialectical materialist, convinced that magic is real. I'm searching for God in uncertainty, comfortable with insecurity. I get by on the skin of my teeth, because freedom isn't real. Tragically flawed, always in awe, cursed by my inner dialogue, immersed in a cosmic paradox. The normal people scare me, but also people who wear t-shirts that say, normal people scare me, also scare me. I'm a fun-loving, funny guy who gets so depressed that I can't cry. I've considered unaliving myself, but I've got hopes for a better world. I'm afraid someday I'll be forgot. I'm afraid these crises can't be stopped. I'm scared of the scarcity imposed upon us all. I can't build a house and I can't grow food, but I can sing these little songs to you. And I know there's inherent value in singing all is one. So that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
I forgot because it was also a last minute addition, but let's give it up for Gabriel on the cello. When you've never played music with someone and you're unsure of how it's going to go and they walk in with a hat like that, you're like, this is going to go really good. Okay, we're going to sing this together now, okay, everybody? It's your last chance to sing tonight. I mean, you can sing in the car on the way home, I guess, but that's got nothing to do with me, so I'm not interested. It's okay if you're a little shy, just give it a try, okay? We're going to do a little something called call and response in the business. Show us. That means I'm going to sing the part and you're going to sing it back to me, okay? We're gonna let the birthday party know where the real fucking party's at. It goes like this. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight. Here we go. We've all got our gods to kill.
Our gods to kill.
We've all got our voids to fill.
Our voids to fill.
We all want to sell our souls.
To sell our souls.
We all want our stories told.
Our stories told.
We've all got our gods to kill.
We've all got our gods to kill.
We've all got our voids to fill.
We've all got our voids to fill.
We all wanna sell our souls.
We all wanna sell our souls.
We all want our stories told.
We all want our stories told.
We've all got our gods to kill.
We've all got our gods to kill.
We've all got our voids to fill.
We've all got our voids to fill.
We all wanna sell our souls.
We all wanna sell our souls.
We all want our stories told.
We all want our stories told.
We've all got our gods to kill.
We've all got our gods to kill.
We've all got our voids to fill.
We've all got our voids to fill.
We all wanna sell our souls.
We all wanna sell our souls.
We all want our stories told.
We all want our stories told.
want to come talk to me, it has to be in that context of money transactions.
We need darkness to see the stars, but our resistance mimics the orthodox. The truth is we must give up on truth, embrace a beautiful, brutal paradox. So drink now of the blood from the sacramental wine. Dine now on the body, but what of the mind? Always in a constant state of becoming. Everything perpetually coming to its end.